I've been practicing centering prayer for about 10 years now. And I think what inspired it was I was looking for I didn't know what I was looking for, but something I felt like something was missing. I felt like my prayer life just had no depth and that it was just on the surface. And I just felt like my relationship with God was really on the surface and had no depth. So I think I really just began exploring, and I stumbled across centering prayer in a book in 20 late 2013 called Healing the Divide: Recovering Christianity's Mystic Roots by Amos Smith. And he talked about a practice called centering prayer that he had been doing for actually, I think, 20 years, even up to that point. So that immediately intrigued me. So I began trying this practice for myself. And I also reached out to him, and we began kind of a back and forth email dialogue and became friends to this day. So I guess it's Amos's fault that I now practice centering prayer. But no, I'm so glad I found it in his book, and I've been practicing it really now for 10 years or so.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And let's say the honest struggle. And also, my next question will be, what would you say to someone who feels like they are bad at meditating?
I would say one, there's no such thing as a bad meditation sit. Some are easier than others, some are harder than others. There's really no such thing as a bad sit. The main thing to do is really just to show up. And also for people that were the idea of being brand new to meditation, centering prayer, silent prayer, I tell them to take baby steps. So if they've never done it before, I suggest maybe commit to trying it for 30 days. Make it the first thing you do in the morning, and limit the time. Take small steps. So maybe do it for 5 minutes and then see how it goes after 30 days. And then if it's a practice that resonates with you, increase the time to 10 minutes or 15 minutes, but start slow, take baby steps, and then don't be hard on yourself. There's no such thing as failing. If you show up, you're doing it right. There's no such thing as a bad meditation.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And also, your approach isn't just meditation. You also practice journaling, gratitude, and affirmations. How do this complement centering prayer?
Sure. So I think of centering prayer where I'm opening to the presence and actions of God within, and God's praying in me what God knows I need, even just for that day, whether it's calm, inner peace, wisdom for tasks, removal of anxiety, that kind of stuff. And then outside of centering prayer, I like to journal because I journal what I think God has prayed in me. I might journal what do I think,
Mhm.
or how am I feeling, or what are some things that I should be working on, or what are some goals that I should be working on. Or I can even create an affirmation, for example, of things that I think I want to do and accomplish in my life related to my health, my finances, my family. So I like to complement, you know, journaling, and I like to complement affirmations with center prayer. So I sit silently with God, and then outside of it, I do some journaling and reflecting and goal setting. I do some affirmations of things I want to accomplish in my life. And then even gratitude, as you mentioned. It's kind of something I like to do. Well, I like to try to do it all throughout the day, just to be grateful for things as they happen, small, little, medium things that happen. But especially at the end of the day, before I go to bed, I like to just kind of talk out loud to God. I kind of I drop to my knees before I go to bed, and I just simply thank God for all the things that happened, whether it was a cup of coffee with my wife, or a nice show I watched, or the walk I took with my daughter, or kind of a pleasant little thing that happened today that I didn't expect, or even if I just had a really good day. I work remotely. I don't have to go into an office, and if I have, if I accomplish 3 or 4 tasks that I'm happy about, I'll mention that. So I like to just have gratitude and reflect back on the day and all the things that happened, or all the things that I accomplished.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and how those practices weaves together. It's less about the perfection and more about creating the space to be. It's wonderful. And
Right.
also, you have a book, and your book talks about discovering your true self. What does that mean to you, and how do limiting beliefs get in the way of discovery?
Sure. So during centering prayer, we're opening to the presence and actions of God within, and we're kind of letting go of our thoughts, letting go of our emotions that we feel, which kind of is the same thing as our limiting beliefs. We're letting go. I think everybody, including myself, we tell ourselves things that aren't true. I'm not smart enough. I don't have the right skill set. I must be crazy if I think I can do that. These are all really limiting beliefs that we can let go of while we meditate in the silence of centering prayer, or any meditation for that matter. And then when you kind of let go of all of these thoughts, what's left is your true self, the person God wants you to be, the actions that you can take. So your true self is always there. It's just maybe sitting on top of it, or all these limiting beliefs that aren't true, but we think
Mm.
they're true.
Yeah, yeah. This is so true, and I think people can resonate with that also. And is there a belief you personally had to let go in order to live more freely?
Um, just I guess fear. I mean, probably everybody. It's just fear that I'm not the right person for that, or fear that who am I to think I could do that? Whether it's changing a job, or writing your first book, or speaking in front of people. So I think fear holds people back from doing many things. And then maybe at the end of your life, you look back and regret that I never did that because I was afraid. And I just need to let go of the fear, or even just go through the fear and realize, what? Fear is part of the process. You just need to just make a decision to do it anyhow.
Yeah, yeah. And also, I think letting go of those old fears really does open the door to who we actually underneath it all. That's so
Right.
true. And also, let's talk about silence as a teacher. You have shared that it teaches you. Can you describe a moment where silence gave you unexpected wisdom or guidance?
Yeah, I guess I would say, with my practice, I'm just centering prayer, we're letting go of thoughts and just continuously coming back to the present moment. But so outside of centering prayer is where I notice the fruits of this practice and what it's taught me. So if I think about myself and pre-centering prayer and now post-centering prayer, I just look at the things I'm doing that really are a result of the fruits of this wonderful practice. I have a website that teaches people silence. I published a book. I do one-on-one coaching. I've been on over 130 podcasts just to share the idea of silence with people. So those types of things, like none of that stuff was even on the radar. It was something I want to do. But the fact that I sit in silence on a daily basis for over 10 years kind of has nudged me to do these things, and to continuously do different things and try different things.
Yes, yes. And that really speaks to the depth of silence. And also, do you think modern life makes it harder to hear those messages, or does it make them more essential to listen?
Um, I guess modern life can make it hard to hear anything because we're just getting up, and you can kind of look back into the day and think, my God, I just went through the motions. I got up, I had breakfast, I did my job, I did my errands, I went to the grocery store, or whatever you did. Whereas silence, you can sit and pause with God. And silence is not just with centering prayer or meditation. You can sit and journal. You can sit and reflect. You can sit and have gratitude. So I think modern day life, we need to take a break from it and actually just sit and pause and meditate, sit and pause and journal, sit and pause and reflect, and think about, what do I really want to do? What are the things I want to do? What are the actions I want to take, instead of just continuously going through the motions every day.
Yes, and I think in modern days, the hustle that we all do, I think we all are in some competition, or we just going through with all these things. But we need some time to give to ourselves also, because we forget that we oppress ourselves with so many things. But it's very important. So For someone who is overwhelmed or maybe disconnected or stuck, what's one tiny step they could take today to begin returning to themselves?
I would still come back to silence. I think it all starts with it. For me, it started that way, and I think it just starts with committing to a 30-day practice of meditation of some sort. So commit to try for 30 days. Make it the first thing you do in the morning before you do anything else to start your day that way. And just even make it for 5 minutes. And then begin your day. And then after 30 days, look back and see, how do you feel about it? How has that changed you? Has this silent pause? And you could even do silence at any point during the day. You can take a silent pause. Like if someone makes you angry, instead of reacting and yelling at them, for example, you can pause, and then you might actually stop yourself from a reaction that you really didn't need to do. So, but I would definitely say try a 5-minute practice in the morning, and then if you can throughout the day, take silent pauses before you react, because a lot of times you'll stop yourself from doing something or saying something that you'll later regret.
Yes, yes. And even the smallest practices can be a lifeline. And it's not
Right.
about doing more, but coming back to what matters. And also, I think uh, just to say that in I mean, we just can pause in between, because sometimes we do some actions aggressively or by emotions, but silence can be very powerful that we often overlook. We don't think silence as a teacher, but silence is can really be a teacher and can stop us doing some aggressive and some emotional thing that yes we might regret later. That's so true. And also, could starting with just one practice be enough? And which would you recommend first?
Definitely the meditation, and I would just start with a meditative type of practice, and then you can add other complementary practices. I think a very good second one it would be then journaling, because silence, just sitting with yourself, sitting with God, and then journaling is self-reflection, and you're reflecting on, how do I feel, what do I want to do, and you're just and you don't, and there can be no, you can just kind of sit down and either write or type, and there's no agenda. It's whatever you feel at that moment that you want to do. Or you might have a journal prompt. Sometimes I use prompts, and I'll just journal on a prompt. So I would start with meditation, then maybe add journaling, and then I think fairly quickly add gratitude, because I think gratitude instantly shifts our mood. So to just be grateful throughout the day, or at least at the very least at the end of the day, and reflecting is easy, and it doesn't really take that long. But gratitude can instantly shift your mood.
Yes, yes, that's so true and wonderful. And if I just ask you to say something or to give a message to our listeners now, what would you say?
I would say, I know I keep saying the same thing, but I would say take a daily dose of silence. So take a daily, at least 1 minute of silence, because I think the whole world, if everybody paused before they reacted, we probably would have a less violent world, in my opinion. So take a daily dose of silence.
Yes, yes, that's so true. That's so true that we often take medicines, but silence can also be a medicine that we have to take daily. And also, if my listeners want to connect with you, then what's the best way?
Sure. The best place to find me is at silenceteaches.com is my website. And then if they subscribe, I have a free short ebook on centering prayer that they'll get when they become a subscriber. So they can find me at silenceteaches.com, and then kind of just poke around my website and check it out, see what resonates with them.
Yes, and I will make sure to attach all the details and links below so that our users and listeners can find them very easily. And with that, we have come to the end. And to our listeners, stillness isn't a retreat, it's a return. Today, Rich Lewis reminded us that the practice of centering prayer, journaling, gratitude, and affirmations aren't just habits, they are hundreds back to the soul. So, next time When life gets loud, remember the silent isn't empty. It's you, waiting to be just heard. Keep listening, keep practicing, and let your inner peace lead your outer life.